listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.
Good evening. It is Happy Halloween in the United States. It's October 31st. This is Brian Sebastian, and you're live around the world with Movie Reviews and More. Hello, Denver, Denmark, Germany, England, Spain, and the UK. I have to say hi to them because if I don't say hi to them, they get upset with me, which is fortunate. But anyhow, I want to welcome everybody to the guest today, and I get a chance to welcome good friends of mine and new friends. We're going to be talking about our favorite films. Obviously, it's Halloween here in the U.S., so we have some of our friends. Victoria Renee Plummer and Linc Hand dressed as, you guessed it, whatever it may be, but I'm going to have everybody else introduce themselves. Victoria, go ahead.
My name is Victoria Renee Plummer.
How's it going? I'm Linc Hand.
Hi, I'm Daniel Wood.
Happy Halloween. I'm Denise Masino, also known as Miss Fit.
Gregg Simpson.
Janet Bernson.
All right, let's get down with this. And the reason we have everybody here, you know what? I have to start with Janet, and I'll tell you why. Janet, tell us why you're here. What's the anniversary? This is really, really important.
My late husband's birthday, and his name was Max Middleton, was today.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now, talk about an author, a healer, an artist. You've got an event coming up, but you're really good when it comes. I've been to your house. I love your art. If you've got something coming up within the next 2 weeks, talk about it.
I do. I have a show, an art show happening at Theater 68 in the NoHo Arts District here in the San Fernando Valley of California. And it's all art called To Go, art from Too Much Takeout and trash I've found from the street.
Now, you know what's interesting about that? And give your website so everybody can check it out right now.
www.janetbernson.com. That's not very original, but it's my name.
Well, the fun thing about Janet is we met through one of my friends, and I went over to her house. I'm like, okay, who's this artist I have to talk to this time? There's always somebody new reaching out. Once I got there, she came like this. I found her eclectic. I like her art. She's a wonderful person. I like the fact that she's a great healer, and she's in North Hollywood. Well, not really North Hollywood. I'm thinking
Sherman
of
Eyes.
Yeah, Sherman Oaks, California, which is great. Talk about your art, because you go around the streets and you pick up and you refurbish and you create wonderful things. That's not usual.
Well, I have a saying, but I'll have to tone it down, I think, because this is, I don't know, is this webbed or is
You
this,
could say it. Go ahead.
Okay, there's no shit, it's just compost. Everything in your life can be transformed. And I've been working with trauma survivors for the last 30 years, and each one of them has been an experience, because working with trauma, it's hard to imagine your life being different after you've experienced a traumatic event. But with art, it immediately transforms your life.
And as everybody here is an artist, when we get to Denise, talk about where you guys came from, you and Gregg, because I found your film a year and a half ago at the Hollywood Film Festival, and I had been talking about it ever since then. And as watching, literally thousands of films around the world, having this one, which not only did it catch my attention with St. Jude's, Hospital, which is one of my favorite charities around the world, obviously being connected to Linc, his mom, Adv Hand, and Victoria, who sings a song, A Better Tomorrow. She just got back from tour doing that in the South. This is where everybody is connected in one way or another. Talk about your film and then Gregg and how it came about.
All right. Well, it all started with we heard that there were people dressing up in costume and going out and fighting crime as real-life superheroes. And we grabbed a camera and found a superhero and started to talk. Right? Denise, you remember that?
Yeah, well, I have to admit that I was skeptical about what the motivation was for somebody to don a mask or spandex or a cape and create a secret identity, because these are people who are not cosplaying per se, which is very popular, but they were creating identities for themselves that even their families and sometimes wives and kids didn't know about, and they were going out into the streets and
So
trying to change
what was the first
world.
part of that journey like?
For me, it was trippy. It was both.
It was an adventure of Miss Fit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's been the adventures of Miss Fit, yes.
It definitely was an adventure, and it still is. The first real-life superhero we interviewed was a guy who called himself Master Legend. And he's actually still on the scene. And it was
So we went to Orlando, Florida, and you found yourself on a rooftop doing some kind of kung fu WWE moves on the roof, being taught, quote unquote, street fighting.
And if I remember, this is before you found your character, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I didn't go into the whole process thinking I was going to become a real life superhero.
And yet,
but they recruited me. They recruited me.
Now this is.
So I'm showing off my guns now.
She should be a superhero.
So yeah, I was I think skeptical, which is how most people would view this group of people. But I was really surprised about what I found when I interviewed different real-life superheroes. I was inspired more than anything.
Well, one of the things was it deals with homelessness. I know what that's like. It deals with everybody who wants to be a superhero, whether they admit it or not. Me, I would be the Flash, because I wanted to be the fastest person around, just creating havoc. And when it came to this, not only did I like the way that Gregg directed it, I like that you found people that they're not the average person you would find, and then you have like a fitness cosplay boot camp, which I've never ever seen before, which I thought was interesting. Talk about that.
Well, what happened really was that the people that we interviewed, the real life superheroes, came from all walks of life.
Right.
I mean, they're as diverse as any group of people in a city like this, a melting pot. They're super creative people, quirky. Some of them, it's sort of questionable about, whether or not they're a little crazy or not. But what happened was they made me think about what activism means and is, and what it can be, what a superhero really is. Now, I'm not talking about a Marvel character. We're not talking about people that can fly, but they helped me to redefine the idea of what's heroic. And I started thinking, well, is a school teacher that mentors kids a hero?
Absolutely.
Is somebody who, you think about the firefighters, the people that go into the flames. We saw a disaster in Northern California just recently. And there are heroes everywhere. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's the smallest thing that you can do that really makes a difference in somebody's everyday life. And in that process, I started thinking about, well, what am I doing in the world? How am I affecting society? And am I making the world a better place? And whether or not I could do something like that.
So what did that mean for you? What did you what did you take on as your mission?
Well, so one of the advice bits I got from all of the heroes was, think about what you're passionate about, what you really enjoy. In your case, it would be art, right?
Yes,
how transformative that is. And then pursue some sort of a real-life superhero persona, because if you're passionate about it, you're going to really do something with it. And for me, obviously it's fitness. My whole life has been about being physically fit, capable, independent, and I know the life-changing benefits of feeling good about yourself and feeling physically fit. And so I wanted to put together... And
that was the second message that I liked about it.
Yeah, so that's where my mission came from. I wanted to connect physical fitness, which empowered individuals, to an event that could help, in this case, kids who were sick and just wanted to be healthy. And that's where the St. Jude thing came in.
And that's the third thing I liked about that, because you had, for any movie, and anybody who knows me will tell you, my rating system is the 4 E's. It's got to be entertaining, educational, empathetic, exciting, empathetic, all these. And this movie had that. So I've been telling people about this movie everywhere around the world for a year and a half about this.
So
last week, what happened last week? It came out.
Yeah. Well, it's out on DVD
don't you just
now.
like a modest director? This is your chance to talk about your movie. You've been waiting for this for a long time. And we actually met about, a year ago?
Yeah.
And I was telling them what I wanted to do about this film. So leading up to here. Your film finally came out.
Yeah, it did. Well, so it's, it's really all independent. It's an independent movie in every sense of the word. Not only did we do most of the work ourselves and finance it ourselves, we decided we were going to release it ourselves too. So we're not going through any distribution company. We're going directly through Amazon, iTunes, we created a store on Amazon that has the DVD. It's got the shirts, the stickers, the 8x10s, all ancillary products. We're thinking about a comic book and an action figure. I don't know about that, but maybe.
Why not?
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Well, yeah.
It does. It
It'd be
sounds
fun, right?
wonderful.
In my mind, it has to be a part 2. I don't even know if you thought about it because you are a filmmaker and going on. I see it like that.
Sure.
I see it like
the story
that.
continues. The story has been continuing. Denise becomes a superhero in the course of this movie. That was unexpected. But she continues to be a superhero. The movie's done, but, you know, her mission and her adventures continue.
And where were you guys this past weekend?
We were at Stan Lee's LA Comic-Con.
And talk about the crowd you generated, because I saw the photos.
Well, it was a lot of fun. We created a giant comic book. It was about 6 foot tall by 4 foot wide with a cutout in the middle, so everyone could pose inside it as a superhero. And so it said The Adventures of Miss Fit, the name of the movie, and Denise is in it as Miss Fit. And people were, they loved getting in and posing with her.
Absolutely.
I love the pun. I'm so late, I guess, but I just now realized, like, oh, I get it, like Misfit, like you're outcasted, but also you're super fit.
Exactly.
Misfit, like it's a title.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Sorry, I'm so slow. I love it.
It's okay. Everybody
Very
at their own
creative.
pace, Victoria.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey.
All right.
You know what the funny thing about that is that when I was thinking about, okay, somebody said to me, if you were going to be a real life superhero, right?
Yeah.
Which is the question I have for every single one of you, by the way. What would you call yourself? That was one of the questions I got, and I thought, well, I don't know. Like, what would I call myself? And then I thought, well, how would I fit in with a group of misfits? And then it was like a lightning bolt. I was like, oh my God, there are a group of misfits. I'm misfit. Yeah, this is perfect, misfit, and in every sense of the word.
I love
And
it.
embracing that whole thing.
And it shows you going through different character changes, what would work, what wouldn't work, all that.
Yeah.
Daniel, you know what doesn't work when it comes to things. You're a filmmaker. Talk about how you did the Atoning and where you came from, because you're interesting. You
Where I
grew up
came
in
from.
Idaho?
Yes, I grew up. My dad was in the Air Force, and that's
Okay,
how I
there you
ended up
go.
in Idaho and Mountain Home Air Force Base. And so I was born in Germany, and then at 3 I came over to the States at Mountain Home Air Force Base.
You notice I said thank you, Germany, out there, right? Because I have a
Yeah.
lot of fans in Germany watching.
And so my mom was German, and you know, I have family over in Germany as well. So, but I grew up in Idaho. I graduated Mountain Home High School, and then I came out to LA and went to USC Film School. And then a few years ago, I ended up in Mississippi, where I've made now 3 films, and The Atoning is one of them. We made it in West Point, Mississippi, which is a small town in Mississippi. And it was really fun making the film because the whole community really chipped in and helped us get the film made. People would make cakes and bring it over, and, you know, things like that. And you just don't get that in LA, you know?
Congratulations
Not
on
at
getting
all.
Yeah,
3
congrats.
movies made. That's not easy.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Making
Well-
1 movie is not easy. 3
Exactly.
is,
Well,
that's
Mississippi,
an
I mean, it's a really great place to be making films. People get excited, you know, like.
Well, it's down home. And Link's laughing because he grew up in the South.
What's really funny is, you know, on the first film, you know, I didn't want to be one of those producers, but, you know, of course, the director picks a house with no power, you know, and we don't want to bring a generator and all these other problems, so I'm going to neighbors, you know, and I'm like, hey, can I use your power? Sure, no problem. Hey, can I use your living room for the DIT? Sure. Can we use your restroom? Yeah. Can we use your bedroom for wardrobe? You know, and all, you know, it just became a mess. I became one of those guys. But then the lady comes over and is like, hey, we're going to Subway. Can we buy y'all sandwiches? And I'm like, oh my God. this
Link
is like
Southern
crazy.
Hospitality, right?
Yeah, that's a different world when you film in the South
Yeah.
or anywhere else other than here. You film somewhere in the South, you film somewhere else in the States. People are like, oh God, what are you doing? This is so cool. This is great.
How can I help?
Super hospitality. Out here, people are like, wait, is this my property? I should get a piece. Like,
That's right.
Where's
Yeah.
my?
I get
Yeah.
10%.
You want
Give
that
me
leaf
back in.
blower off? That's $100.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But
So
you
funny.
talk about that.
So The Atoning.
Yeah.
It's out right now. It came out September 5th. It's on all the video on-demand platforms, iTunes, and Amazon. It's also in Redbox, which is probably one of the least expensive places to get it, I suppose. And it's also on your cable system, all the big cable systems, Spectrum and Cox and Dish.
Talk about how difficult it is to get in that. And Greg, you can understand that too as a filmmaker, and Denise, obviously. getting that movie out there. Everybody wants their film to be on a big screen, and not every film could be on a big screen. The good thing is that there's different platforms now. Talk about that.
Well, you know, it definitely helps to make a genre film. You know, horror is something that seems that everybody loves. The other film that I made in Mississippi, it was a drama, and that was definitely a lot more challenging to try to get distribution on something like that. But a horror, it seems like if you have a really neat story, if you have a fantastic poster, like I think we do, you know, I think you have a better chance than average than if you were in some other genres, you know. So I think that really helped make us, you know, pave the road a bit, being a horror film, you know. Horror fans are like some of the best people I've ever met now.
And horror will never go out of style.
No.
Think of Blumhouse. I mean, Tyler Perry last weekend, Boo 2. You know.
Well, he's
comedy and
definitely
horror.
servicing an underserved audience, though. Don't you believe that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's great. You know.
Super niche market, yeah.
Well,
For
yeah, but
comedy
there's,
and horror together. like,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of
Well, that's-
crossover with that Boo
Yeah.
too. Everybody loves to laugh. You know.
Yes.
You know, even with Jigsaw, I was there when they did the first Saw, and you know, now Jigsaw comes back. Now it's 12 years later now.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we did 2 years ago we did a 10th anniversary of Saw, and I was the only one who was there from the first one. I'm looking around the room like, wow, these people weren't even doing movie reviews. I'm like, damn, I'm old at that point. But I was looking at the genre because the genre made Lionsgate look good, and seeing where those two filmmakers are now. Great job.
Yeah.
So
But
doing
again,
that.
horror films, like I say, a horror film makes it, you know, it's the lifting's a little less on a horror film than a drama, for sure, in my experience.
Linc, where'd you come from? Because here you are, ended up. Now, what people don't know, I adore Linc and Victoria. Victoria is one of my co-hosts, is always usually around when she's here. But getting Linc in, that's a different story because he's been working on a lot of stuff. Talk about what you've been working on lately.
Been working on a show called Ghosted on Fox. Comes on Sunday afternoons, 8:30, right after The Simpsons. So check it out. It's good stuff. Craig Robinson, Adam Scott, two funny dudes. So you guys will enjoy it.
What can you say about your character? Don't mind Victoria. She does this all the time, which is
I was
funny.
thinking, because when I was in Indiana, it came on for the first time. I'm like, is the time different? Because there's a 3-hour difference time-wise. So I didn't know if it was changed or... Yeah.
She's my fiance, so
Exactly.
it's the best. It's the
You know what
best.
that's like.
That's why I love you, babe. But my character is kind of like I'm sort of like the James Bond of this secret government underground agency. And if you did watch the show and you watched the pilot, I get abducted pretty quickly by aliens right off the bat. So now I bring in Craig Robinson and Adam Scott to come find me, and that's where the series starts. So it's anytime to a country dude, you say, hey, you get to play a James Bond and you get to fight monsters, and I'm just like, I'm in. 100%. Let's go do this.
Well, the other good thing about that is, all right, so you were in the movie 42, you were on Revenge, you were on Justified, you're that guy. You remind me of Scott Eastwood, where you're right here and you're about to break out. In my mind, you've already broke out, but still.
From your lips to God's ears.
Well, it's been happening. I mean, I went back to watch 42. Did everybody see 42, the movie, Jackie Robinson story?
Yeah.
Well, he's the antagonizer. Tell him who your character was, because it was all in the eyes.
I play Fritz Ostermuller. So I was easy way to describe it. I was the guy who hit him in the head with the baseball that gets the fight started. And but that was my first big studio film. We got to play baseball for 3 months, which was
And where?
we shot in my hometown. So literally, where I was a little kid, when I went to like grade school, we would go every couple of months. We would go watch like this college production, a professional play. And that'd be like one of our field trips as little kids, and we would go to the Civic Center, and we shot some of the baseball movie 42 in Birmingham, and we stayed at the hotel right across from the Civic Center. So when we drove in, it was such a crazy experience because we did some prep work for 2 weeks in Atlanta before we started filming, and we all the whole cast took a big shuttle bus to Birmingham, which is like a 2-hour drive from Atlanta, and I fell asleep on the bus. And I woke up and I saw a high school sign for a school called Leeds, and that was one of our rival football and basketball teams that we always played, and I hated them. And so when I woke up and I saw that sign, for a second I thought I was 16 years old again, and I was getting ready for a football game. So I was in that mode, and I was getting ready to hit somebody. And then I look over and I see T.R. Knight sitting right across from me. I was like, wait a minute, I'm a grown dude and I'm about to go shoot a movie in my hometown. This is crazy. This is so crazy. So it was so surreal.
And we have to mention your mom, because I call her my southern mom, and she is actually. Who's your mom? Talk about your lineage, because you grew up with all this stuff. See, I can see the face already. You're not getting out of this.
My mom's Edie Hand. She's related to Elvis Presley, so technically I'm related to Elvis. But she spent a lot of time with him, spent time in Graceland. I affectionately call her Slash, because she does a little bit of everything.
She does. Very good.
So she's an author. She's been a TV host. She's been a radio host. She's done literally everything.
Cancer survivor.
Cancer survivor, that's a big one. And then that's how we as a family kind of got tied into St. Jude's. And so yeah, it's funny how everything connects.
Exactly.
Brings you full circle.
And then you run into Victoria. Victoria, you you just came back from your tour. Talk about what happened.
I did. Tour was amazing. It was very busy, completely running off of adrenaline. I don't think I slept for 2 weeks. I went to Memphis first, and then I went to Graceland, and then I did a radio show at Graceland, and then I went to Nashville, and then I went to Alabama first, did the Northwest Mutual private event there, and then I went to Nashville, and then I went to Indiana, and then back to LA, and then I have another show on the 9th.
And your song A Better Tomorrow is charting where?
And yeah, my song Better Tomorrow is going to be featured on Reverb Nation on April 11th, and it's actually charting on Reverb Nation right now, which is really exciting for me because
we've been talking about this song
Yeah.
and your mom's film since December 2nd.
Yeah, a long time.
But actually going before that,
Yeah.
when I met Linc and his mom on his yacht, which was really a boat, but it was
It was a boat.
it was a boat.
It was a boat.
And the reason how we met is someone said, hey, this is Brian Sebastian from the Hollywood Film Festival. And then his mom says, I got a movie, in her southern accent. I go, yeah, I hear this all the time. And what did I say to your mom? I'm like, it better be good.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of the Adventures of Miss Fit and the Jim Brown film that I found. And I said, okay, let me watch this. And you narrated. What was the name of the movie?
Christmas Ride.
Mm-hmm.
The Last Ride.
The Last Ride.
Last
Yeah.
Ride.
And it's about the family and how your mom kind of grew up.
So basically, like, I'm on a very Cliff Note version of it. My mom had 3 brothers, 1 sister. Her 3 brothers all died way too young. 2 very tragically, 1 through a prolonged aneurysm in the brain, all that kind of fun stuff. So throughout that process, her final brother who passed asked her to tell their story. So my mother wrote a novella, and very short form novel. And from that, there was some interest in a film, and that kind of started the whole process of her trying to fulfill a promise to a brother to tell the story of her family, and that's how it came about in a very Cliff Note version. And that's a 10-year process.
It's funny that actually happened. Like, A Better Tomorrow was written for in The Last Ride.
Yep.
But I had never released it until this year, which is just kind of amazing because it's like the absolute perfect time for it to have come out.
That's
because
right.
the world just seems to be crumbling from beneath us, and just by happenstance, like, I don't know why I didn't release it before. It just hadn't happened, and then all of a sudden, September 1st, it was just like, and then everything just kind of aligned and like made sense. It was really, really fantastic, and she was just a vital part in all of it. Like,
Right.
if The Last Ride wouldn't have happened, then none of this would have happened.
That's right. Yeah.
Congratulations
Very
for
grateful.
charting your song.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you so much.
And
Looking forward to hearing it.
well,
She
you know
is-
what?
She is so good, so good. Like, and I got to say this, and I say this with love. It's so annoying being the least talented dude in the house. Like, it's so
Not
annoying.
true.
But it's
So annoying.
actually, it sounds like you're co-empowering each other rather than
That's the plan,
there's no
yeah.
competition at all.
No, I mean,
it's really sweet.
we're very playful, and we rib each other so hard.
Oh, yeah.
And if you didn't know us, sometimes you're like, wait, what? Like, cause we'll make jokes. Like, we'll go into the gym and we'll make jokes, and I was like, no, guys, it's a joke. We're kidding. We're playing.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to be in an environment where we have each other's back, because in this business, no matter what you do in it, there's always, I mean, with anything, you get your battles. It seems like, especially in entertainment, in arts, you've got some fights to deal with, and it's nice to have somebody that's got your back.
Yeah, it's good to have a good solid rock, a platform that you can kind of rely on, that's always going to be there and is supportive, sort of unconditionally. That's hard to find in friends and relationships in any sort. That's hard to find. So I'm very blessed.
Denise, you'll like this. What time do you guys get up?
I get up at 4. So
I get up at 5. I don't get up at 4. 4 is way too early. The
I was
difference
gonna
between
say,
4 and
if
5.
Way too early. Way too early.
Well, tell my husky, because my husky gets me up between 5 and 5:30 every morning,
Yep.
and we have to go out.
You
Yeah.
guys make me tired.
Now, why do you get up early?
I get up early to go train.
Yeah, we train together. So lately, we used to do a 5 a.m. every morning, and then lately I have to work, and then he'll go early. He'll go twice a day. So he'll go 4 o'clock, and then he'll go again at like 10, which is a lot of working out. A lot. I can't do twice.
That's my
It's too
therapy,
much.
though. That's my
Denise, you know all
That's
about
my
this,
therapy.
right?
So here's what I'm going to say about that is you nailed it.
Yeah.
It's therapy.
Yeah.
A
100%.
lot of people who look at me, they think I spend 8 hours a day in the gym.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
And then they're like, oh man, there goes my excuse. Because I say to them, look, if you can invest 45 minutes an hour
Yeah.
in your physical fitness, your health, it's not just about your body,
Right.
even though you want to look good. It's about cognition. It's about the way your brain functions and about taking on the battles, the struggles, the potential depression. There's so many things.
Oh, so many
There-
things.
you put the news on, there's so many things to bring you down that I start my day with my workout, so I feel you guys.
Yeah.
And I recommend everybody listening and watching, get your workout in. It's a gift that just will change your whole life.
Yeah, and I'm not even a morning person. So, like, I used to always work out at night, but going early in the morning has changed my world, because by the time you get done working out, you're home, you've already made breakfast, you've showered, you're cleaned up. Most people are still in bed. They haven't even woken up yet.
Yeah.
And it's just like, kind of like, if I wait until nighttime now, I'll make an excuse. Like,
Yeah.
I won't go.
I agree.
I have to go in the morning. Yeah.
And Janet, you know about this because you've got the physical part and then you've got the spiritual part. Talk about you as a healer.
Well, as I said before, I've been working with trauma survivors, women in prison and kids in jail and women in domestic violence shelters and kids in domestic violence shelters with their parents, with their mothers. And it's a very big job. Actually, I took a kind of a leave of absence after my husband died and decided to use the arts and all of the techniques that I had to work on healing myself. What do they say? Physician, heal thyself. Mm-hmm. That's what I started doing. And that is actually the outgrowth of the work is the outgrowth of that experience. My first show, actually, my first personal art show was last March, and it was a huge success.
How many people did you have?
Hundreds. I mean,
That's
I
awesome.
stopped
Congrats.
counting, and people, it just blew my mind. I really did not expect that many people showing up, but a lot of people did, and they were really surprised. And I was tickled. I was just excited that I could share my work. My work is not just visual art, but it's also writing. I have stories and poems, etc., that the pictures tell me to write. Now that sounds kind of woo-woo.
No.
And maybe it is woo-woo, but it also is that every picture has information for me, and I a lot of times don't know what I'm going to make until I make it.
Didn't Michelangelo say that the statue of David was already there, and he just kind of freed him by chiseling it out, kind of a thing, like the art's there, and you're just like the vessel that's kind of like bringing it to life.
Yeah, I have a little thing somewhere I've written where I'm not sure that the art is my muse or something else externally or internally is that. I really don't know where it comes from, but I go into another place entirely when I'm creating. And when I'm writing, I just let it go. And one of the things that I tell my clients when I go into places of traumatic healing is that when we turn off our inner critic, when we turn off that one that says you can't, you don't want to, or that's not good enough, when you turn that off, I tell them to go to Starbucks and get a latte, or or 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee. And say, tell your critic that when you're done, you'll ask them to come back, and they can bring one back for you. So my theory is that when we turn off our intellect and we just let that organic creation come forward, we are pleasantly surprised. And I'm always blown away by some of the things that I create.
I feel like a lot of people are like kind of blocked from it, and they just won't even just sit down and let themselves. Like, it's cool that you've learned to allow yourself to create. And
so that block I think of as, well, what do you, it's the log in the middle of the road. So what do you want to do? You want to beat it up? You want to try and throw your back out trying to move the log? Or do you want to chisel it into a boat and then gently slide it into the water and then take it on a journey?
There you go.
So everything that you think is an impediment to your progress can be used as a tool for your transformation.
I love that you took your pain and spun it into art, and then shared your art, your gift, with other people, and that they loved it, to your surprise, apparently.
Well,
that's a success story.
Thank you so much, and it was a surprise, and it was kind of fuel to my fire, because as soon as the show was over, I said, oh, I think I better make more. And so in a period of, 6 months, I've created more pieces, enough to have another show.
Awesome.
And Theater 68 is the theater that my husband was one of the members of, and they're in NoHo, and Ronnie Marmo, who's on General Hospital and a number of other things. He's a wonderfully talented
Is that the
guy.
Lenny Bruce one-man show?
That's the Lenny Bruce one-man show that's happening now through November.
Which is good.
Which is really cool, so you could come to my show and see him, too, at the same time. But anyway, Max was a member of Theater 68, and when I told Ronnie that I was getting ready to do some art, he says, well, why don't you do a show at my theater? And then when I said I wanted to do another one, he says, well, okay, let's do it. So that was very exciting.
Give that date again. November 12th?
November 12th through the 18th. The opening is on the 12th. It's from 12 to 5 in the afternoon. And then all through the week until the 18th, it's from 6 to 10. So that's Monday through Saturday.
Daniel and Gregg, talk about creating when it comes to filmmaking. What is it like producing? But first I want to know, coming over from another country, how tough was it for you to get your foot in the door here? Because that's always intriguing to me. And he says he's smiling. I already know.
Well, I don't really see that I came from another country. I mean, my dad was in the Air Force, and I only stayed there until I was 3. So
still, just the experience.
Ein bisschen.
Yeah.
It's
Good
hard
to
out
Morgan.
there for German.
That's right.
No one will let us in.
I mean, it was a bit of a, when I did come out to L.A., it was right after the riots, and
Interesting.
And I went to USC, which is right down, and I didn't realize how white, you know,
I can tell you what that's like.
Northwest was until I went back for vacation on Christmas break. You know,
Yep.
had to go through Salt Lake City. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize it was so white. You know,
I grew up in an all-white town of 7,000. I know there was only 3 black families. I know
Yeah,
exactly what that's
well,
like.
So yeah, and now I'm in LA, and my kids go to these schools, and they're minorities in it, and it's but I don't really see it because we're all in the same class, so we're all got the same concerns. So, you know.
But I always find it interesting as that executive producer, and then just putting everything together and creating things, going and making that magic. And Gregg, as a director, that's not easy to do, and that's one reason why I don't trash films. There's enough people to do that. I always say,
hard.
sell it, don't smell it.
Well, I always like to tell people, try to make a film by yourself.
Exactly.
You can't do it. It's impossible. You know.
Actually, if I may, Gregg is kind of a one-man, crazy man show. And it's a little bit of a miracle that our film got made, to be honest. If you would humor me and tell them what roles you played in making Adventures of Miss Fit, I think people need to know.
Well, I would, first of all, I would agree with you that you can't make it by yourself. So there was a lot that I did by myself. A lot of times it was just, there was no crew.
Well, no one's ever going to care more about your project.
That's right.
Well, that's
than
true.
Yourself.
That's right.
true. But yeah, there were points in the movie where it's just her and another superhero and me climbing some rooftop. And, you know, so I had to do the camera work, the sound, the lighting, the editing, the animations.
Sure, but without her commitment.
Well, yeah. Well,
I was
Me
all,
hanging on the side of a wall saying, "Did you get that?" No,
I had a
anyway.
Misfit costume on. I was doing all my own stuff. Like,
You have a cape?
me?
Yeah, you.
Why would I
I had
have
a
a cape?
long dark
Because, just because you
That's
should.
just something to get tripped on.
Well, all right, so, you know, maybe
I do have a
an armband or two, you know, something.
No, I have a kilt and a mohawk.
I got a kill too.
a kilt and a mohawk.
Yeah, so
Is
what
that
happened?
your superhero?
Yeah, the white scorpion.
I like it. What is it?
The white scorpion.
The white scorpion. I get it. I see. You are the white scorpion.
Yeah, once
can see
a
that.
year I am. So Denise, as Miss Fit, ends up pulling together a team of superheroes to run a obstacle course to raise money for St. Jude. And so we do this 1 year, and trying to raise $10,000, and then it just kept going. So we've now done it 5 years or 6 years and raised $125,000 for St. Jude.
And that's the other thing that I liked about that.
That's fantastic.
And so that's where the white scorpion comes in, because I've got to, I filmed the race from inside with a GoPro, so I had to be
Wow.
I had to be a
I love it.
superhero.
Wow.
I couldn't be on a team without being a superhero.
Yeah.
Our entire team, one of the requirements is that you have to be a real life superhero for that event. So you have to come up with a name, come up with a
Cool.
costume,
Super cool.
See,
Now, and so we're recruiting too. So this will happen in, I think, March in LA.
So
It's a 5K with mud and barbed wire and fire. There's
Nice.
running, there's obstacles, there's crawling.
Dan, you like that?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I would do it. I would wear my kilt. I don't care.
all right.
Yeah, I have a kilt.
we have
I
a
went to
blast.
Scotland to get mine.
Honestly, we have
Nice.
a blast.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We have such a blast.
We're doing Tough Mudder
The
next
barbed
weekend,
wire
so.
got me.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, we're into Tough
I mean,
Mudder.
my
We're doing
superhero is an
Florida
inner
next week.
child.
It's like
Yes.
five. How
So
many
it's
miles is
really
it?
hard to do
10.
the
It's
barbed
like
wire
10
as
miles.
the
It's
inner
like
child.
what mud, and you did it before. I don't know. Cool. Tough Mudder. It's gonna be fun. I
It's
can't even
funny.
walk 10 miles, so,
So
this
is that
is gonna
is
be
that your
crazy.
first? Is that your first obstacle race?
That's my first. His is he's done it before. I have no idea. I don't know. Like I said, I can't even walk 10 miles, so this is gonna be hilarious.
That's going to be
This is gonna
fun.
be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'll do free weights all day. I'm just not. Cardio is not my. Don't put me down for cardio.
No, but I'm going to tell you that's how I raise my money.
Yeah.
Because bodybuilders don't run. Let me just put that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do my cardio,
Yeah.
but I hate running.
Yes.
I
Me too.
hate running with a passion.
So much.
And I've been running for 5 years, for St. Jude 6 years. We've been doing it for 6 years.
See, it's all about St. Jude's.
I ran today.
So I
hated the set.
run once a year, usually for 30 days, and I raise money for St. Jude.
Awesome.
And my followers and my family and my friends and anybody out there, so they know that I hate running and that I do it for St. Jude. And so I think to shut me up, they make donations.
That's cool.
And I mean,
However
I've
you gotta
got
do it.
my people, I've got them hashtagging Suck It Up Buttercup and making donations because so I'm with you.
You know my life, yeah.
I'll be patient with you.
Yeah,
and
appreciate
we'll
it.
be good.
Hey, it's all about St. Jude's. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
It's worth it. All right, Janet, give your website.
www.janetbernson.com.
Gregg?
adventuresofmissfit.com, and that's Adventures of Misfit, MISSFIT.
Denise?
I'm going to give you the other one. It's our St. Jude team page.
Good.
It'll show you what we've done and what some of our crazy team members look like. And that's active-ism.com, ACTIVE-ISM.com.
Daniel?
theatoningmovie.com, and it's available on all the your favorite video on demand platforms.
Linc?
I'll just do the old social media platforms. It's all the Linc and if you want to see some of my upcoming projects and some of the stuff I've done, you can go to IMDb and just look up my name, Linc and, LINCHAND.
Victoria?
VictoriaPlumber.net. All my socials are on there. Instagram, Victoria Renee Plumber. If you type Victoria Renee into iTunes, A Better Tomorrow will come up. You can download there. Proceeds go to St. Jude Children's Hospital. It's also available on all streaming platforms.
Daniel, favorite film when you were growing up, what was that and why?
Oh, probably Do the Right Thing.
Oh, Spike Lee, okay, why?
Well, because I always felt like, as a responsible media creator, you should try to make a positive impact, and I really felt like Do the Right Thing did that, It's made an impact on me, and the soundtrack is fantastic.
Gregg?
I don't know about picking like one, but I was watching Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein the other day. That's an all-time favorite.
Great.
Is that what got you into making films? Maybe?
That movie? No. Probably the first movie I saw in a theater was True Grit.
Ah.
Well, that's not true. The first one I saw was Santa Claus Captured by the Martians. What was the name of that? Pia Zadora's first movie. When she was little.
Interesting.
Oh my God.
Santa
Pia
Claus is
Zadora.
captured by the Martians in this movie.
Think of Pia Zadora. Wow, that's interesting. Janet?
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. Well, Room with a View was one of my favorite movies of all time.
Good.
Coconuts.
Oh, Marx Brothers.
Marx Brothers, yeah. $2,000 for ice.
Wow.
For $2,000, I can get 200 Eskimos. They make their own ice.
That's too- Denise?
Oh my God, movie. I don't.
Was there something when you were a little girl that just turned you into just liking movies at all?
No, I was always working out.
That makes
As a
sense.
kid?
Yeah,
Pumping Iron?
I started
Did you
working
watch
out
that
when I was around 14, 15. So, I wasn't somebody who sat home and watched TV a lot. I wanted to do things.
You'll be interesting because now, you've got Pumping Iron 2 out there on Netflix. You've got Dan Solomon doing, the Joe Weider story, which is good. And again, I'm looking for these films. Patrick Rivera's got a great film, The Evolution of Bodybuilding, which I thought was excellent.
really?
And he was not happy about this. I turned his film down for yours. He was not happy about that. Not happy.
Thank you. Sorry, Patrick.
So, but we're still friends. He's coming on the show to talk about that because he's got female bodybuilders, the history of them coming. So,
Oh, interesting.
And I've got Oksana Grishina coming on November 28th,
She's
which will be good.
phenomenal.
Oksana's great. Linc, what were you into when you were growing up?
This is easy. This is a no-brainer for me. Bloodsport. Jean-Claude.
Oh, Jean-Claude, yeah.
I got where I could do the splits between two chairs. I almost broke my elbow trying to elbow ice out of my dog food bowl. And it created years of kumite on the trampoline, which was amazing. Not good for my neighbors, but it was awesome.
And Victoria,
As a child,
in general.
as a child, I was really into The Little Mermaid and Wizard of Oz. I don't know. As an adult, no, the same. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, what's my favorite movie? Footloose.
Oh, okay. Yours is always musical, and with that, sing something from Better Tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
You're not getting out of here without that.
All right, hold on. Always put me on the spot.
That's right.
We share this place, we all belong. Light the way till dark is gone. Walking away, still meet so strong. Rise above, hope isn't gone. We have to restore this planet's soul and teach it something more than what we know. Give it water, give it sun, room to grow. I can see a better tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh.
Filmmakers, talk about how important social media is.
Social media. You know, we love it and we hate it.
Exactly.
It's hard work. But it's the ability to speak directly to your audience and share the journey.
I mean, if you build it, they won't come because they didn't know you built it, you know? And,
True.
You know, as a filmmaker, it's always like social media, because everything else costs so much, you know? Or, you know, pull out my phone and I can take a picture and reach 100 people and, you know, social media is great. But it's fractured now, like, you know, everybody's like, you know, Facebook is great because it's easy, but that's not necessarily where everybody is for your particular audience and whatnot. A lot of younger people now are on, they were on
Instagram.
Snapchat for a while, but now they're on Instagram and
Yep.
stuff like that, so you got to chase them around. And I like the Atoning, you know, I'm going to try to do some Pinterest stuff because
Oh, yeah,
I
that'd
really
be good.
find that women who like the Supernatural TV show tend to really dig the movie a lot. So, you know, I think they might be on Pinterest. I don't know.
They are on Pinterest. That's why I built up my Pinterest, because women are on that, so that's good.
But I think it's something that people don't really, I mean, like I think LinkedIn is something that people kind of disregard a little bit. They have groups on there and stuff like that. And oftentimes they'll email out like a weekly thing of what happened in that group. And I've posted stuff in there, and it's been highlighted as a subject, and it goes out to thousands of people through the email, through LinkedIn. And, you know, there's just so many different places. You just have to dig and dig and
We'll have to
post
talk
and-
about that LinkedIn thing.
Okay. But there's, you know, don't neglect your social media platform. If it's up there, you use it, you know.
Denise, it's important to you. Why? You got a huge fan base.
Well, it allows me to connect with
And you're very good at doing it.
my fans, and what I've learned, and I feel like I've learned this through making our documentary, is that it allows me to do it in a very authentic, very real way, which is what people want. You know, people can smell something that's highly produced and BS, and yeah, the consumer will absorb a certain amount of that, but I think with your art, you know, with your story, with your movie, when you share a slice of life and they get it because they can identify with it, that makes a real difference. And then people feel like, okay, well, I'm communicating with this person gets me, and I think that's what's really great about social media. And of course, you know, there's this thing about how much, there was a time when I was like, how much do I share, how much do I, but I've been blown away by the connections that I've made with people as a result of social media and the support that I've gotten for things that I never would have thought. And it just, it gives me hope.
Like the
know?
raising money for St. Jude, that's largely through social media.
Yeah, I was blown away by the support, and you know, I found myself running and crying because I hate running, and then running because I was like, okay, you know, I promised you guys, and I'm committed to my people who are supporting me out there.
Of course.
And,
So you feel personally connected to them through social media.
Definitely, and I know they feel that back to me, and so that's the beautiful thing about social media. We could be there for each other. You have to just abstain from the negative stuff. My thing is I don't get into the ugliness. I try to put out into the world what I want to get back. And
Your
I
biggest
think this is really
social media outlet is what and why?
well, I'm on everything. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter.
Would I be correct to say that you're bigger on Twitter? Is that correct? What's your number?
On Twitter?
Yeah.
56,000.
All right.
Instagram is in the mid-high 40s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
So the reason you're
I need a staff, though. That's the problem. I need a group
I
of
was
people.
going to ask you, do you
Yeah, it's
on
it's a
each
lot
one
hard.
post, or do you post one place and share it to all the places? Or?
I try to post everything individually to each platform,
that
which
works
is
better as
really
well, yeah.
hard. Because if not,
Yeah.
you don't really get the post the same way.
Exactly.
And the people communicate differently. Like Twitter it's a conversation. It's a different kind of communication than it is on Instagram. That is visual. You know, you need a photo, and so, you know,
So
it's
for
a full-time
context,
job.
people don't understand why you have following. Denise was one of the top bodybuilders. She's semi-retired from it now. She hasn't officially retired, but she hasn't competed in a little while. But you competed at the Miss Olympia twice, coming in second and third. So
It's amazing.
Cool.
she's got a
That's
following
true.
because of that.
Snaps.
Yeah, so my following came from the bodybuilding fitness world,
Yeah.
and sort of what I did there, and that's where it all started, and that's where I'm rooted. That's why I'm Miss Fit. So
One last sweep
It's all
around before
coming
we
together.
go. Janet, your show in social media.
Well, it's janetbernson.com, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram, and what else? Twitter, I think, somewhere.
You are.
Yes, I am. And theater68.com, also, I'm on there. And the show is called Art to Go. It's November 12th through the 18th in the NoHo, Theater 68 at 5112 Lancashire Boulevard. I hope to see you there.
Gregg?
Well, all our social media is tagged with Misfit Hero, MISS Fit Hero. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Denise?
and I can be found through
St.
Denise.
Jude's one.
The Denise Masino. Denise Masino on all my social media, and also as Misfit Hero on all the social media.
And you're St. Jude?
The website is active-ism.com.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Daniel?
You know, since it's Halloween, tonight would be a great night to be renting the Atoning.
Absolutely.
Most of our social media is on Facebook, and just look for the Atoning, and you'll find us.
Linc?
Same thing I said earlier. All my social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, are the Linc hand, because somebody's got a Linc hand.
Yeah. And Victoria?
Instagram, Victoria Renee Plummer. All my other socials are on, that's also Plummer.
And I want to thank everybody for being here, because it's not easy doing 6-7 people on when I usually have 4 or 5. But I didn't want to say no to everybody, so thank you for all being on here, and I hope I got everything in, because it's not easy to balance it, but I think I got it in. And thank you for provincial sponsors. Thank you for getting into Gelson's. Stair Cosmetics, thank you. We will see you December 12th, and Victoria I know is going to come back because she's wearing it, which is good. And Janet, thank you, because she pitched in too, and I wanted to help her art, so everybody come out and see her art show. This is Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More. If you see someone who had a smile, please give them one of yours, because we need it out there. See you guys next week. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.